Hi, I'm Kenny Klaus, and this is State 48 Homeowner.
Hey, my friend, welcome back to the State 48 Homeowner Podcast. And today we're talking about the recent changes to touring homes in Arizona. And today we're here with Rick Collins. Rick, you've been on the Klaus team since 2012.
Yep.
And during that time, you've sold a few homes. How many homes do you think you've sold?
I've sold 400 to 500 homes in the last 10, 12 years.
And the average agent, I think, not even close.
Yeah, I statistically, they say, the average agent does 2 to 3 deals a year.
Yeah.
In Phoenix, it's probably even less.
Yeah, because there's, 70,000?
I think there's 90,000 licensed agents right now, and we're selling 6,000 homes a month, so that's 72,000 homes a year spread across 90,000 agents. So a lot of agents are doing 0, 1, 2 deals a year.
Yeah, and a lot of people will just kind of trust somebody just because they have a real estate license. Mm-hmm. It might be Uncle Fred, Aunt Fran, and they just kind of go with them because they have a license.
Yeah, that's a concern, because the reality is our market is changing monthly, if not weekly. So you want somebody that's in the trenches doing this 24/7 every day, not somebody who every few months tries to get up to speed to help somebody.
So historically, if I wanted to view a property, I would either just call up somebody on Zillow or call the number on the sign and say, hey, I'd like to go see the property. What's changed?
Yeah, so that would be the good old days, right? You could do that. And we as agents were thrilled. Sure, I'll run out. I'll come meet you right now. You're standing there. Give me 15 minutes. I'll be there. Let's go check it out. The same can occur today. However, with the new changes, it is required that each buyer signs an agreement with an agent prior to viewing a home. And that can look a lot of different ways. You could say, I only want to see this one home. Okay, let's bind each other to this one house, and on the duration of this contract or this agreement, we'll say 1 day. So you and I are partners for 1 day. I'm going to show you this home. If you like it, then I'll be your guy. If you end up going and looking at another home with another agent, you're probably going to have to sign that same agreement with that other agent. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is if you've got an agent that you know, like, and trust, and you're comfortable with, and you're confident in their abilities, you can sign an agreement that, hey, you're going to be my guy. Any home I want to see, you're going to be the person that's going to show it to me. And let's say we're going to look for 3 months. That might be the duration of our agreement.
So is there a way that I can go look at a house in Arizona after August 1st without signing something with an agent?
No.
And that's because of the latest lawsuits that went on from NAR.
Yeah, correct.
So there's no possible way anymore that I can go look at a house. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised the first time that they go to look at a house because they're not used to that.
Sure. I mean, there's going to be a fair amount of frustration with that. 6 months from now, it'll be the norm, right? We won't even think twice about it. People will expect it. They'll know that that's what's happening. No different than any other agreement you might do in your life. If you're going to work with your mechanic or going to work with your dentist, you're going to agree up front. Here's what services you're going to provide. Here's what I'm going to pay. Okay, now let's go do it. It's going to be the same.
And I think people were willing to kind of roll the dice to get in the front door and just roll the dice, see who kind of showed up. But as far as that professional representation, I know people aren't really willing to roll the dice to, maybe to have somebody come and check on their AC or maybe repair a part on their AC. But when they're talking about replacing their entire AC or, having somebody maybe fix a piece of their roof, but when it comes time to replace the entire roof, people tend to be doing a little extra homework and not just rolling the dice.
Right. So, that's a great point. If you're going to get a new roof, if you're going to get a new pool, you're going to ask friends. You're going to check Google. You're going to look at reviews. You're going to want to get some feeling that this person knows what they're doing.
Yep. So let's talk about the 4 things that you want to do when you're choosing an agent. The first thing, go check Google. Go look at those reviews. All you got to do is hop on Google, look at agent near me, look at real estate agent in the city that you're looking in, and don't just go with the top 3 things that pop up, because those are ads. Those are things that people paid for.
Good point.
We don't want to just click on the things that pop up. We want to look and see which things pop up and just only look at the reviews. Don't just click on links. Just go and click on the reviews. We want to look and see what people have said about them. We want to look and see, do they have an impressive track record of results? Do they service the area that you're looking in? Do they deliver a consistent 5-star experience? And then we want to go and interview them. We want to get face to face before we go and meet at the front door of the house. Sure, there might be times that we see a property come on the market. We really, really want to go and look at it. But generally, we probably have enough time to go meet with 1 or 2 agents and get face to face with them and meet with them and ask them more about, do you have access to the lockbox to get me inside this house? Do they have a process for buyers like you? Do they have trusted partners in place? Do they have home inspectors that they trust? Can they recommend more than one of each? Do they have lenders that they trust? Can they recommend more than one of each? You don't want to just have somebody that only has one to recommend, because maybe there's a little bit of agreements in place or something. Have more than one of each. Do they ask good questions of you? And when they ask good questions of you, are they listening to your answers to those questions? Do they seem like somebody that you can like and trust? Are they more interested in finding about you, or are they more interested in telling you about them? What does that one-on-one meeting kind of look like?
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, and the ideal scenario is we sit down. It can be at a coffee shop or at the agent's office, or wherever someone's comfortable with. I've met people at their work before, and we've just sat out front of their building on a bench and and talked. What are your goals? What is it that you're looking to do? To me, I need to be asking a lot more questions than me talking. I can tell you how many homes I've sold. I can tell you this and that. And if you're interested in that, I'm thrilled to share it, because I feel like I'm towards the top of the industry that way. But it's really the agent trying to talk with the prospective client. What are your goals? And sometimes we have trouble. We got to get spouses on the same page, maybe. Or my goal is this home that's a $600,000 home, but my budget's $350,000. So we just got to make sure we're on the same page. And then it's me sharing, of course, my process, how it's going to work, everything that we're going to do on their behalf. I won't get into it on this particular podcast, because it's about a 4-page document. We sort of listed out everything that a buyer's agent does during the process. People don't realize what's going on behind the scenes and how much is happening during that time that you're under contract. But essentially, you want to walk through that whole process, explain HOAs and inspections and appraisals and title companies and lenders. There's a lot going on there.
So if they understand all that, that comes to our third point. Are they a professional agent? Talk to us about that.
Sure. And we touched on it briefly, but you want to be careful hiring Uncle Fred or your cousin who maybe is a dental hygienist, but she happens to have a real estate license, and a few times a year on the weekends she'll show houses and try to sell one. Our industry, our processes, and our market is changing so rapidly. In my opinion, you need somebody who's doing this all day. Every day. It's their job. It's not something they do on the side. There's so many opportunities for continuing education and workshops and seminars and programs. You want somebody that's going to that on a weekly basis, learning what's happening and what's changing. Personally, I try to go to an inspection, at least one inspection a week. It's amazing what is found there. And again, if you're an agent who does 2 deals a year, and a lot of agents don't bother to go to the inspection. So how can you guide your client through, hey, here's what we need to be concerned about. These are significant issues versus the bathtub needs caulking. That may not be a major concern for us. We need to think about, why is there a stain on the side of the house below the AC drip line? Okay, there's a problem. There's a problem with that AC. And if you're not engaged on a daily or weekly basis, you're not going to pick up on that. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, we don't want to just use family members out of obligation just because they're licensed. We want to throw them business. I mean, if we had a nephew who was in their first year of medical school, or maybe their first year of residency for that matter, and we needed a heart bypass operation, we're not going to give them the business just because they have MD. You know, we probably want to have somebody that's done a couple bypass operations.
Yeah, sure. Going on with that about the professionalism, do they have a plan? Do they have a strategy when it comes time to start negotiating that contract for what you want to accomplish? I've got cash buyers, you know, their goal is they want to get that thing for a deal. They're not concerned about closing costs. They're not concerned about what day are we going to close. They're not concerned about a home warranty. I've got other first-time home buyers who scrape together every penny they had just to make their down payment. Yeah. You know, their concern is going to be, hey, I need help with closing costs from this. I want to make sure I've got a home warranty. I want to make sure that this closing time is going to match with where my my rental expires. And so we're going to have a different strategy when it goes to writing that offer. You know, of what's important to that person, and it's not going to be, you know, no two, just like anything else, no two clients or no two buyers are going to be the same. So we've got to be ready to adjust and be agile with where they're at and with where the market's at.
So the fourth thing, we've looked online for reviews. Where else do we look?
To me, friends and family. Where do you go when you want a new landscaper?
Yeah.
You're asking your neighbor, hey, your yard looks beautiful all the time. Who do you use? Okay, that's the guy I want to use. You know, you see these, just sticking on the landscaper thing, you see them, the same guys every week in the neighborhood, or a pool guy, or a dentist, or anything like that, right? I'm going to ask my friends and my family, who do you use and why? You know, has that person done work for you? And so, you know, again, I'm in a very lucky situation where I've got 400 or 500 past clients, and that's where most of my business comes from. Yeah. And it's those people who worked with me that they can tell their coworker when they overhear them in the break room saying, hey, I think I want to buy a house. Oh, hey, you can work with Rick. He did this, and this for me. He got me the home that I wanted, you know, in a very competitive market. Let's say if it was a couple of years ago, wrote the best offer possible so that we won that thing, that he mitigated my risks.
He saved me this much money.
Right. Yeah, all of those things. So to me, that's the best. That's the best place to go. Just like if you were going to look for any other service, you're going to ask coworkers, friends, and family, who do you use?
Yeah, and if you're asking your friends for referrals, it's not about who gave you a nice set of knives at closing that you're looking for. It's who negotiated the best for you, who saved you the most money. Those are the kind of referrals that you're looking for. Yeah. So the new things that we're going to be signing to get in a house, it's an employment agreement. And like you said, it's whether it's for a day or it's 6 months, whether it's just for that property or if it's an exclusive. It dictates that if a seller or a selling agent is not willing to pay a buyer agent, that the buyer is willing to pay the buyer agent. So what does the buyer get?
Right. So as I mentioned, just for fun, our team, and you were involved in this, you know, let's write down everything that we do in this process. And it was, you know, no joke, it was 2, 3, 4 pages long of items that happen along the way. But you know, the big kickers, obviously, we're going to negotiate the best deal possible. for you on the property. We got to think about negotiating when it comes time for inspections, when it comes time for appraisals, all of those
there's
things.
a lot of points of negotiation along the contract.
Yeah, I want to say,
I think a lot of people just think that it's like
we counted it up
the
one time.
purchase
Yeah.
and then the inspection, and that's about it. But there's a lot.
We counted it up one time. I want to say there's 130 points of negotiation within the contract and within the process. And a lot of buyers don't realize that and don't notice that. And a good agent's going to take that off their plate, and they're probably not even going to know that it occurred.
And for a lot of us as agents, that's actually our favorite part of the whole, our whole job. Is the negotiation.
Sure. So there's that. Of course, you want an agent who's going to give you a proper valuation of the home. If I'm a seller, I can list my home for anything I want. It might be a $400,000 home. Maybe I want to try 500. That doesn't mean that's what it's worth, because that's what they're asking.
And a lot of people think that only listing agents are doing valuations of homes, and yet the Klaus team, our buyer agents, are doing valuations of homes before we're putting in offers,
right?
Because we want to make sure that our buyers are getting a fair.
Sure. You want the buyer to get the best deal. You also want to make sure that the home's going to be able to appraise if you're getting financing. I mean, that very first thing your lender's going to do is order an appraisal on that house. There's no point in anybody writing a $450,000 offer on a $400,000 house, because it's not going to appraise. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to be disappointed. The seller, the seller's agent, the buyer's agent, everyone's going to be disappointed when that occurs, and the lender.
and we're in a long-term partnership with these clients. We want to see them build equity over time.
Yep. So the other thing I would say, along that process, just as a broader topic, is risk mitigation, right? We get under contract on that home, and we've got a 10-day due diligence. We want to look at the title report. We want to look at what's going on with the HOA. We want to, are there violations on this house that the HOA is going to carry over to us? Has the title discovered maybe some sort of a lien on this property? And then, of course, getting into inspections and repairs and all of those things. So there's a lot of steps along the way where we're mitigating risk and ensuring that 6 months from now, these buyers aren't going to get a knock on the door and some roofer is going to say, you owe me $6,000 for a job I did 10 years ago. Or the HOA is going to come and say, here's this stack of violations. You're the new owner. It's on you, friend.
And even just being aware of areas and risks that come with areas, being aware of areas that maybe have fissures in the areas and things like that. One of the things that we do is we just help our buyers. Anywhere that's anywhere near an airport, we have our buyers initial the map just to make sure that they know of things that are happening around.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring that up. What's going on in that area? Is there a new mall being put up that you don't know about? Maybe that's good for you. Maybe that's not good for you. Is there crop dusting that happens across the way? I had a client a while back with a lung condition. That was a major concern for her. We had to track down where's the nearest crop dusting that occurs. Because there were farms nearby.
My first house in Arizona, I didn't know that there was crop dusting behind me. It was directly behind me. It was cotton fields. I didn't know until all of a sudden one night I just saw right behind me, directly behind me, there was a low-flying planes.
You've got easements. I've got multifamily clients who wanted to purchase a home, and they were like, oh, well, we'll put a garage on the side, and we had to dig into the easements a little bit. Well, it turns out the city has the ability to come in. Let's say on that one it was 10 or 12 feet. That would have been right into the middle of their garage. So, we've thrown out 2 or 3 examples here, but there's
a lot,
dozens, right, of gotchas.
We also, with that comes transaction management, and so many steps, like you said, happen throughout the transaction, and we even provide a utilities concierge along the way that We'll step in and take care of all of the utilities that we can legally set up on your behalf. Arizona's a regulated state, so there's some utilities we can't set up, but anything that we can set up, we'll set up for you on your behalf. We provide a free moving truck whenever it's available for our clients. We have out-of-the-box programs that we'll provide, a buy first then sell program, renter rewards, lease purchase program, buy with cash, assumable loans purchases, and we've got our Client for Life program where even after you've done with your purchase, we come alongside. We've got equity management tools, we've got trusted vendors, we've even got some stuff that we'll some little contests and things. We a couple months ago we raffled off a oceanside vacation, and it was kind of cool. Our client went out there and proposed.
I've had my clients that have won those, and there was two that you mentioned that I just wanted to touch briefly on and elaborate a little bit. So you mentioned that renter rewards. I've got a lot of clients that come and they say, I want to buy a house, I want to do this, I want to do that. We get them with our lender, and well, you're not quite there yet. You need a year of additional work experience, or we need to pay down some bills, or we need to maybe get past some sort of a bankruptcy or lien or judgment or something like that. So the great thing about that with the renter rewards is we're going to give you 5% towards your rent as credit, and you're going to build that credit for the next 12 months. Let's say it's $100 a month. You've got a $2,000 rent payment, $100 a month. You're going to save in this savings account that we're going to create, and in 12 months you're going to have $1,200 sitting there from us that you're going to be able to use towards your closing costs. So you're still building towards something.
It costs you absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah, and I think
and
that's
you actually
important.
get some extra stuff just by going in and checking your credit report, by watching videos, by if you want, you can link a savings account there to just watch on a graph, watch you build that extra down payment and all that kind of stuff.
And then the other thing I just want to touch on from the Client for Life thing, so the other thing, this is my favorite part of working with my past clients, is on an annual basis we say, hey, let us come out. We're gonna talk to you about the neighborhood, the market, the house. Show me what updates you've done in the last year, and let's get almost like a health check of your home. And to me, that's one of my favorite things. We offer it to all of our clients. Probably a third of mine will take me up on it, but I get to go back out there and spend an hour or two with a past client, learn what they've been doing, what vacations they've been taking, and oh, by the way, we put in new granite countertops, and we're thinking about redoing the bath. What does that mean?
I just went out with a client and she was saying, my kitchen, I'm just not happy with it. I haven't done anything. And so we said, well, here's some things that you could do, and went back, got with one of our contractors, and I took measurements while I was out there, so the contractor didn't even need to go out. We were able to supply them with a quote just if they decided to do something. And she was stoked.
Yeah. So that's always one of my favorite things, is just reconnecting with my clients who have purchased with me in the past, and going back out and refreshing myself on the property, because our goal is in 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever it is, when they need to sell that property to upsize or downsize or move out of state, we want to be their go-to person, and I want to have an understanding of that property. If I haven't seen it in 10 years or bothered to look at the neighborhood or the market where they are in that city, I'm going to be a little bit lost, versus if I'm in there once a year and we're tagging up and communicating and kind of deciding together, like, hey, if I do this kitchen, is that going to make the home worth more? Versus, hey, I'm thinking about putting down different colored rock in the backyard. Okay. If you're going to enjoy that different colored rock, that's great. I don't know that I can tell you that it's going to add $5,000 to the value of your property. So it's a good back and forth, so they've got a feel for what things are going to be of value and increase their equity versus some things that maybe won't.
So buying a home, it's a very, very smart thing, and it happens to be probably the biggest financial decision of your life. So if you're ready to take those first steps and you'd like to include us at the table and let us audition for the job, you can go to klausteam.com/first steps. Thanks a lot, Rick.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Good time.
Thanks for spending time with us this week at State 48 Homeowner, the ins and outs of owning an Arizona home. You can connect with us for more information, submit topics you'd like us to further discuss. You can see relevant videos, give us feedback, answer your real estate questions, and more at state48homeowner.com.